the video where we will discuss about the difference between var, let and const. Var was introduced since the birth of JavaScript, but let and const became part of the JavaScript family when ES6 or ES 2015 was launched. There were certain problems with scoping of the var. That's the reason let was introduced. So let's see how var and let are different. So the scope of the var variable is always to the current execution context. That means either it is scope to the function or to the window object, whereas let is always block scoped. To demonstrate an example, I'll go back to my Chrome and I will open the developer tool. In the developer tool, I will use the snippet to run some local code. I will add a new snippet. I'll name it as var let const. Let's define a function uh, var let, and then inside the function we have a if. When it is true, we are having a, let's say, var x equals to high, and console.log I'm or maybe I'll return the x, and I'll call the method from here. So if it is true, that means inside the scope of this if block we have declared a variable of type var and put its value as high. So when we run this, we will get high as an output because this var is scope to the function which is varlet, and inside that function we are returning. However, if we change this one to let and run it, we will get an error, x is not defined. So that means this x is scope to the block. That means its scope will be now up to if loop or if condition, and outside the if condition when we try to access x, it will give us not defined. Going back to the second difference, var gets hoisted whereas let never gets hoisted. So to demonstrate that example, what I will do is I will remove this code, and let's say I have a var x equals to 1 and let y equals to 2. So when we try to access x and y, console.log x and console.log y, this will give us the first one as undefined and the y is not defined. What does that mean? Var is gets hoisted. That means when JavaScript compiles this code, this will create it something like this, where x, and then here it will try to assign, and let y equals to, it will remain as it is. So when we execute console.log x, it will check what is the value of x, and at that time there is no value assigned, so that's why it is coming undefined. Whereas y is not hoisted or it is not even declared, so this will come as y is not defined. Now coming back to the third difference, global variable are added to the window object as a property, whereas let it never gets added as a property to the window object. What does that mean? So let's declare a var x equals to 1 and var y equals to 2. Let's say, let's make it let. So when we run this, we will check on the console that when it is var, it will be added as a window dot x, and you see the value as 1 because its scope is now not a function, it is declared outside a function. That means its scope is now became window and it added as a property to the window object. Whereas when you try to access window dot y, there is no such property as window dot y, and when you try to access this one, it will come as there is no such property. You can see it will come as undefined. Let's see what are the behavior of const. Const has some similarity with let, like it is block scoped, and const also does not create a property on the window object, but it must be initialized and it cannot be reassigned. So it cannot be reassigned means we cannot assign another variable to the const variable. For an example, let's go to the console. We will, let's say, const a equals to 5. And now I want to change the value of a, and I will try a equals to 10, and when I hit enter it will give me an error, assignment to the constant variable error. That means we cannot reassign the value of a constant. This holds good for the primitive type. There is certain confusion for the reference type. Let's discuss a const array equals to 1, 2, 3. Now we must be thinking we cannot change the value of the array. But when I try array of 3 or array of 2 equals to 10, and I'll try to see what is the array, it showed me 10. That means we could change the value of an array which is constant. How it is possible? So if you understand the concept here, this array, whichever is declared as const, it's storing the reference or storing the pointer which points to these values. So these values might get changed, but the pointers should not be changed. So for an example, if I will say uh, let array 1 equals to 7, 8, 9, and I will try to assign a different pointer into array, then it will give me the same error. So I hope you understand this concept. So the conclusion we can draw from this video is var has function scope, or it can spill over to the global scope, whereas the scope of let always stick to the block. One more question comes into our mind that what is the use of let when there is a var? Let's think of a situation where you have an application where in one file you have declared var a equals to high outside the function. So it is spilled over to the window object and you have window.a equals to high. You have another file which is worked by any other developer and he is doing some manipulation on the a variable. Then you will run into a buggy situation. So to avoid this kind of situation, you should use let so that it will not spill over to the window object or global object. That's all for now. Stay tuned and thank you.